Peça a Deus que os homens encontrem os seus passos perdidos, que os sonhos despertem esses olhos adormecidos, que o amor transborde, que vivamos em paz, que os dias terminem com os braços cansados, que a sorte esfaqueia estar ao seu lado, que a dor não me assombre, nem me cause desespero. Peço a Deus.
Hello everybody, I am Thais Corral, the founder of Sinal do Vale and a great admirer and friend of Ramin Alexander in A Home for Humanity, a place that I met for the first time in 2012, just 1 year after I have started Sinal do Vale. So Ramin Alexander and the place in Rotones have been a big inspiration for our project all through all these years. And the students of the Integral Development course, and many of them have come here or have been introduced to Sinal, and all of this has made a big difference, including like the way we introduce Sinal, which is our mandala. Sinal is presented also as the integral development in the form of a mandala, which is an integration, by the way, into the mandala, the integral development mandala, and the Tibetan mandala, which is part of the lineage also that has been sustaining Sinal over the years. Our mandala, briefly, that we are showing here in the video, has 4 fields which represent our fields of action. We have hospitality, which has been from the beginning just one of the ways in which people have come to Sinal and have been able to appreciate, to create relations with our lands, with the people that were already here. We have the agents of transformation, which is part of one of the focus of Sinal, which is education. We see our place as a regeneration center, also an education campus for the transition towards sustainability, and we have the dogs here, see barking. It's part of the integration of Sinal, so we can't prevent that they are also part of this video. And so education has been, the change agents have been like one of the purposes of Sinal, like bring especially young people that would have here the theory, but also the practice of what means to be like this word sustainability or regeneration. These words that without the practice, without the learning and discovery of what it is, they don't mean much, no? And then we have the area of soil, food, and forest. This has been the land which we inhabit, is a land that has been already a coffee plantation, a charcoal, like extractivist place with many small charcoal plants and then pastures. And now it is a place for regeneration, natural regeneration, as forests have come for themselves, and also forests that have been planted to restore the original diversity of Mata Atlântica. So this has been one of the aims of Sinal, together with infrastructure, which is also a very important area for the place in which we are, which is the metropolitan area of a big city like Rio, which is underserved by a lot of needs of the population. And then we have our method that is based on the mandala, the Tibetan mandala, which is anchored in the context. Our context is Baixada Fluminense. We experiment through prototypes. We refine and create knowledge from it, and then we share the knowledge through networks and through the education courses that we create and all that. So, and at our center is the Regeneration Center. But the most important thing of Sinal, and if you ever see our videos and look or listen to the people that have been here, is the community. And then we want to show you a small video in which this community presents itself, the Sinal community. And then I'm going to be here with Katie and Johanna, and we are going to talk lively about our experience. Fazem parte do Sinal do Vale uma comunidade de pessoas que vieram de vários lugares do mundo e do Brasil.
Nasci na Suíça.
Em Duque de Caxias, London.
Campos dos Goytacazes, no México.
Em Petrópolis.
Uruguai.
Em Recife.
Aqui se falam línguas diferentes e se cultivam, se celebram culturas diferentes.
Espanhol.
Português. Embora tenha aprendido japonês muito pequenininha. Português e francês.
Inglês.
Português.
Mas nós compartilhamos um mesmo sonho, que é de viver em harmonia com a natureza e com os seres humanos.
Eu gosto de tudo.
O contato com as pessoas, eu gosto muito das pessoas.
A alimentação natural.
Morar no meio da floresta.
A natureza, as caminhadas que eu adoro fazer.
Trabalhar na horta.
Essa diversidade de culturas e saberes fazem do Sinal um lugar especial. Ao combinar nossas habilidades e qualidades, nós alcançamos os nossos objetivos de forma muito criativa.
Meu animal preferido é o cavalo paçoca.
Gatos. Chico, o carneiro.
As vacas. Calhou.
Isso é a Calu, cara. Tá no coração, né?
Aceitamos e celebramos as nossas diferenças. Eu gosto de ver as pessoas chegarem aqui e se desenvolverem, se transformarem, e ao longo desses anos, né, que eu estou aqui desde o primeiro dia da fundação, eu vi muitas vezes isso acontecer. And then we have here with me, Katie and Johanna. Katie has been here for 6 years already, and I would like her to introduce herself and to tell what was her experience in this 6 year in this Home for Humanity Brazil.
So my name is Katie, and as I said, I arrived here 6 years ago. It's really crazy to think it's been that long, how time has flown. I arrived here right after college when I was looking for a path, and I knew I was really interested in sustainability and food systems. But I didn't know anything about Brazil. But I'd heard amazing things about social entrepreneurs, about sustainable agriculture. So I literally put that in Google, and I ended up finding Sinal do Vale. So I came here, and I was just intending on staying a few months, but I ended up falling in love with Brazil, with our projects, with everything that we do here. And it's really nice to be able to now officially be a Home for Humanity, because it was actually one of the very first big meetings that I participated here at Sinal was with Rama and Alexander as part of a global leadership retreat with these amazing people from around the world. And it was this really important moment for me to see what type of this type of leadership that existed, this more humane way of leadership, this new way of looking at the world, that Thais was part of this group of amazing leaders. And it's amazing now 5 years later or 6 years later to now continue this friendship and this connection, this deep connection with Home for Humanity. At Sinal do Vale, I've had this experience of learning so much about people and about the importance of diversity and being able to really connect deeply with nature. Here at Sinal we live, I never imagined I would live in the middle of the rainforest, in the middle of the jungle, And every day we're surrounded by nature and the strength of Mother Nature. And also the diversity of the people, because like Thais said, there are people from all around the world, from 6 or 7 different nations, but it's also very grounded in the local communities here in Brazil. So it's really been a gift for me to be able to come up with solutions and work together. And I think this really is one of the a home for humanity. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Johanna? Share with us, what brought you here, and especially what made you stay for so long.
Yeah, my name is Johanna. I'm from Mexico originally, but I've been here, this is my 5th year already. I, like Katie, came to stay for 2 months and then ended up falling in love with the project, and now it's been 5 years. And my story is a little bit different because I did finish college and then I started working what I thought was my dream job. I was working for the United Nations. It was something I never thought I was going to be able to do. But then when I arrived, I realized that I wasn't satisfied. And it wasn't because the content of the work wasn't rich, because it was, but it was more of like the culture of work and the type of relationships that were built and the way that the job got done in a way. And I was incredibly sad about it because I thought that was the way it was and that was the future and my future. And so I decided to take some time off and travel around and see some projects working in the ground. And that's how I landed at Sinal do Vale. And I realized that the project was very big. It was just so integral, which was something that I had never seen, really, that I never thought that actually existed. And I thought it was incredible. And there were so many people who were so different and so passionate and so wonderfully talented. And the cool thing was that everybody was very different, but it came together in a way that was fantastic for this field. And then I started learning in the language that Thais brings to this, and the field and understanding and the references and relationships. And I really fell in love with this way of working. And I think one of my favorite things, 2 favorite things that I have specifically of how I can help this project or contribute to this project was, one, that this relationship, and my relationship with Katie also, but especially with Thais, isn't really a boss relationship, but rather a mentorship where there's space for mistakes and there's space for reflection. And the second part, which has to do with that too, is the idea of embracing the responsibilities that your heart sort of wants to embrace, because once you spend enough time here in this sort of very humane space where you get to know yourself, you understand what things you just love about this place, and in that way, how you want to contribute. And so in that way, I feel like I'm very happy and very honored and very proud to give to Sinal, or like the little things that I learned that have to do with showing how beautiful this place is, and helping everybody in the best way that I can also achieve their projects. And I think that's it. Okay, so we wanted to do this exercise where, in the spirit of the learning that we have had from Thais, where we can ask her some questions of what we think I'd like to know, and I think maybe of the home for humanity aspect of the campus. How in all your years at Sinal, that you've seen so many personalities and all these boundaries that are kind of blurry, how do you manage to like work these relationships and cultivate this mentorship to get all of these different personalities to work towards the same goal?
Yeah, that is not an easy thing, and I've been learning as much as all of us. But I think it's I think there is an aspect of the environment and the intention, the intention, the spirit of the intention. That's why it's so important to have that vision of a home for humanity. That vision in itself already sustains the process, because there is not a formula, because people are different. Sometimes they react in a way that you have no idea of how to go about, but the vessel, I would say, because it's like a vessel, is what really sustains it. We used to say that Sinal is like a Noah's Ark, like there is a couple of each type, people, And somehow, because at the end, there is a common language, the human language that we all understand. It's just a matter of letting it come and be revealed. Maybe what I did with all my efforts, because it hasn't been easy for me, was really to endure in that sense, to keep to be there, to keep it to keep it there until that part is revealed, because then we all can connect, But sometimes we push back before, and then you don't have the opportunity to let it reveal itself, this human part that we all have, even with animals,
Okay, what do you think was one of the most surprising things that you learned during this time while you've been here? Something that when you started Sinal, you had no idea what was going to happen. What is something that really surprised you, either about yourself or about people or about what was possible?
First, that it could last for so long. Because I had no idea. I started with, just because I thought it was something that made sense and it was needed, but I had no idea of how this would unfold. So that was my first surprise. And then another surprise is that people like you, like you too, would stay here. It's another surprise, because my first, I would say fear was that people would leave and I would be here alone, in this place, just carrying this place. And to see just that the place has a power in itself, that attracts people, that catalyzes the people and the resources to continue. This for me was a big surprise, because it's another way of thinking. So and maybe what I want to say also, considering that we are on Earth Day, is just within this pandemic and with all that we have learned, is that we really have to come to the shift of mentality. We have to acknowledge that there is a shift here, and the shift is that the earth also has a spirit which will help us to find the new way. So to trust that and to be just surrender to what is needed in terms of what we can contribute to that revolution, revolution and evolution. So I think that places are very important, homes where people can get together, they can have this deep experience together, and to really recognize this is very important at this time. So.
Okay, I'm gonna ask another question,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a rapid fire question.
Okay.
You can't think about it.
Okay.
Favorite cat?
It's difficult to say because I love so many of them, but I would say that maybe it's o Príncipe, the yellow cat that is on the other side. When I think of him all the time, maybe because they are here, but I love all of them. And now I love the dogs as well.
You can hear.
You, favorite cat?
Favorite animal for
Favorite
her?
animal?
No, tigrinho. Tigrinho or pequeno.
And yours?
Fluffy, the
Fluffy.
smartest cat. Fluffy and Pasoka the horse. And Galoo.
And now my fire question. Maybe the three of us have the fire question. What was the like a aha moment that you had with us here at Sinal in these years that open up a new way? I mean, for the two of you, an aha moment.
I think personally, one dinner we were having where I all of a sudden saw myself in a community full of people who we were cooking things from the garden, and there were so many different people and everybody had stories. We stay all the time together, and yet still we have things to talk about and laugh. So it was great personally and professionally. I think the first time that I sat in a meeting in a retreat, which was a BMW Foundation retreat, and people were talking about responsible leadership, and after leaving this culture that I disliked, and seeing there were so many people that were very qualified and very interesting, and they were speaking a language that I felt very passionate about and I thought was crazy, and all of a sudden I could hear it in a meeting. I thought I'm in the right place.
I think I remember, well, I have this one particular memory of when we went to, I think it was Germany, and we presented for the World Future Council. And it was like, I had only been here for maybe 2 years or something. And we went to present about Sinal. And it was like my first trip going with you. I present about Sinal.
In Hamburg.
And talking about what we do and everything. And I just remember everyone was so interested and thought, this is amazing. And all these, we want to go there. All these people at the World Future Council, which sounds like so impressive, the World Future Council. And they thought that what we were doing was like the most amazing, progressive, important, this is what the times needed. And I felt, wow, I guess I really stumbled onto something really exciting. I remember, okay, maybe I'm on the right path. And many other moments, but that one really, I remember that.
Your 5 questions.
Oh, my 5 questions? Okay, what makes you get up in the morning?
I think for me is the connection to love, to everything that I love here. I love so many things. I love the animals, I love the plants, I love the people, I love the possibility of accomplishing some of the things we set up. So I have no idea that is ahead. On the contrary, I wake up with a lot of energy because I see another day to kind of do so many of these things. I never wake up like feeling brappy, never.
And you, Johanna?
Knowing that there's a cup of coffee ready, and then I'm going to go directly to the Horta to see how the light starts changing when the sun starts rising is one of my favorite things. And then knowing that I love the people that I work with, and then you can't go wrong.
And how about you?
I don't know. I guess just all the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Just the possible things that could happen each day.
So when we say, then maybe this is the final round, but when you talk about a home for humanity, like Sinal being a home for humanity, what do you associate with? That it's a concept, but it's also a name, just a name, home for humanity.
I think it's a place where you can be your biggest potential as a person. That doesn't mean a fancy title. It just means that you're so connected with yourself that you can bring something, your purpose, to life.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of cheesy, but I think it has to be that at the end of the day, the most important thing, the bottom line, has to be love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it's one thing that really I think is what makes me, even with the difficulties that we have in Brazil, the pandemic, and of course finances and all these things. I think that we have to have places in this earth which are inclusive, and I'm very happy every day that we have one, even with the challenges, but of what means to include, include people, include animals, find ways. I think at the end of the day, this is what it's all about, it's we need to kind of find ways with all that we know to actualize what emerges, instead of kind of being so afraid before it comes to push it back, So, and I think we have been doing that for many years, and this has to change. And so how are you going to change? We change through many homes for humanity. Bye-bye.